Never let any one person or one event convince you that you cannot do something. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guest Vidya. Back in 1981, I was 8 years old, and I loved to fix things as a child. I would get the screwdriver out, I would take things apart, look inside them, see how they work, put them back together. I was 8 years old, and I found my brother's electronic baseball game, and I thought, I wonder how this works. I got my dad's Phillips screwdriver, took out the 6 tiny screws, and as the last screw came out, a bunch of springs came popping out of the back of the game, and I thought, uh-oh. As I looked in the game, I just saw a computer chip and said, well, I really can't figure out how this works. But I was still interested, and I looked at a few minutes and put it back together, crammed the springs back in. As bad luck would have it, my older, larger brother came in just as I was putting the last screw in. And he beat the tar out of me because that game never worked again. So I had a paradigm shift because I realized I did not want to fix things after that. I was not good at it. I knew it. I broke my brother's precious game. So over the next 10 years or so, as I went through high school, elementary, high school, I thought, I'm not good at fixing stuff. I don't want to do it. I went to vocational school. I took computer-aided design, which is a great class, but I really was interested in the electronics class, but I couldn't take that because I'm not good at fixing things. It wasn't for about 20 years before I decided to fix things again, when I lived in a townhome, and I thought, I'm going to have to fix plumbing and whatnot because I'm going to move into a house someday and save money if I can do this. So I attempted to fix the shower faucet, which I did fix it, but it took about 10 times longer than I thought and cost me about $20 more than I thought it would. So it worked out okay in the end. It just took a lot of work. But I said, well, hey, maybe I can fix things after all. In November of 2010, I had fixed a few more things by then, but I met a guy upstairs, his name's Wayne, who fixes cars, and he helped me fix my thermostat on my car. And as he helped me fix that, I said, are you a mechanic? He said, no, I'm not a mechanic. Over the last 8 years, I've never taken my car in because I've just worked on it and said, if I ever gets too hard, I can take it to a mechanic. And over the last 8 years, it's got harder and harder, but I've always been able to put it back together and fix it. And I thought, wow, that's a great idea how to look at things. About 3 or 4 months ago, my oven was on the fritz. My wife yelled, honey, the oven is not lighting, it's not warming up. And I thought, I can fix it. You know, I've practiced a few fixing things over the last few years. I'm getting more confident. I went to the internet, looked over about an hour of information, and I was overwhelmed. I thought, I can't fix this. But then I thought of the repairman who had come 5 years ago and charged me $75 to look at the stove. And just looked at it. He didn't fix it. He said, another $75 to fix it. So I said, I don't want to call the repairman. I'll look in the internet a little more. 10 minutes more, I found out the oven igniter is the problem in 90% of these circumstances. So I looked online. I saw an igniter for $40. I went to the appliance store. They checked my igniter with their little tester and said, yes, it's broken. $80, we have one for a new one. So I went home, bought the $40 igniter, put it in, worked like a charm, and I was like, yes. Every time I did another project, it got easier and easier with more practice. A lot like Toastmasters, a lot like anything in life. If you keep practicing, you'll get better and better. It'll become just a second knowledge of how you can do things. Finally, a couple months ago, my brother-in-law came to me and said, I can't really afford to fix my brakes. Could you help me fix my car brakes? And I instantly said, yes, I can do that. I've had no experience with brakes, but I was getting overly confident perhaps. And I wanted to save him money. So I did some research online, talked to people, remembered what Wayne had said, take your time, get the books, and we fixed the brakes. It took us 90 minutes, and the brakes were fixed. Felt really good. So the moral of the story is I could have stopped working on stuff just for my brother beating me back then. Scarred me pretty bad, but I'm glad that I got back to doing it, to practicing it. Each time it got easier and easier. Whereas to the point now, I realize nothing's going to be easy. It's all going to be a challenge. If things were easy and you could do something perfect every time, well, why would you have a goal? Because there'd be no motivation to do it. So get out there, give your speeches, play your piano, plant your gardens, whatever it is, don't give up until you practice doing it over and over again. You will see that you will get better at doing it. That's my story. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Greg. Now, if everyone would take a minute and fill out your evaluation forms of Greg's speech. Some of the...
What's the difference between the project objectives and the personal goals?
The project objectives are what are in the Toastmasters
To
manual.
create the story.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so what was the personal goal?
Your personal goals are what Greg wants to do to improve, to a thing that he wants to work on for the speech itself.
Did we know that ahead of time?
No.
Okay, is that something that we're supposed to, as part of our speech introduction, say what our
Yeah.
goals are so that we know
Yes.
if they were accurate?
Okay. And when I do my speech next week, I will make sure you know what my personal goals are. A way that we can get out of our comfort zone, and it's really a simple way to do it. Oh, I'm sorry.
1 minute to complete your
Okay.
presentation.